Well, the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series is nearing the season's end. With just 4 rounds remaining, the playoffs are well underway. Bristol was won by John Furness, a non-playoff driver. But tonight, 4 of the 12 playoff drivers are going home. They will not continue in the final 3 rounds of the championship at Iowa, Kansas, or Atlanta. As we head into tonight's event, it is going to be a race at Michigan International Speedway up in Brooklyn, Michigan. This will be a fun one. 100 laps tonight, 2-mile racetrack, fast corners, and a 36-car field. It is a stout grid this late in the season. Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy. Connor, welcome aboard. As we get set to go racing tonight from Michigan, this place is a lot of fun, isn't it?
It can be a lot of fun, and it's going to be very fast as well. And it's not really going to be the similar race that it's not going to really be similar to what we saw on Monday or Tuesday, where everyone seems very packed up. We should see things get pretty spread out, but with a cooler track temp, maybe it won't be as spread out as we might be thinking. It's not a track we usually go to that often on the Pro Series schedule. 3 races in its history. Cameron Hearns trying to go for his 3rd Michigan victory in a row. He won the last 2 races here, and we'll look at that playoff cut line. Hearns not a part of it, but everyone in the top 12 in this playoffs, they're not locked in quite yet. Clayton Nichols is all but locked in. Skyoli, DeWeese, Philip Groner, Jeff Wright, Beckner are pretty solid in those top 6, but Shane Theron on down, Hunter, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, especially Matthew Bell in a bad spot, 15 points out. But Nichols and Sogak, maybe Zach Carr, they can point their way in. As far as up on the playoff standings, Jake Nichols, pretty solid, plus 36 above the cut line. Skyoli and Braxton DeWeese as well. Very impressive from DeWeese, actually. And then Groner, Jeff Wright, also somewhat similar in points, but Theron and Mitchell, they can't have mistakes. Otherwise, they're going to be on the outside looking in. And as the later in the run you get in this Michigan race, the more desperate the moves are going to be made.
Well, qualifying is underway, so if you're going to make some desperate moves now, I don't think you want to throw it all away early in the night. We saw how challenging it can be to work through traffic and to stay out of trouble in the races on Monday and Tuesday in the Cup Series, and especially the Truck Series race. But, Connor, this is a big grid tonight. 100 laps is some time for things to play out, but I think you want to get yourself as far forward as you can to keep yourself out of the riffraff.
No, it could get a little bit spread out here, but it's still hard to make those passes because there's not really a consistent bottom line at Michigan. You're kind of running around that seam that Blaze McKinney's going around at both ends of the racetrack. So passing's going to be really tough unless you can loosen the driver up and just get him out of the groove, and that's very hard to do. So you need that track position just so you don't have to deal with making those passes or making more passes than you have to, because every pass takes tires, takes tire life off of you, and it takes probably actual life off of you because it is a pain in the butt to get around this track and pass people at the same time. Travis Beckner goes to the top of the board. He might be denying Zachary Carr a bonus point for that pole, but still so many drivers to go.
Very crucial bonus point on the line there, not even for playoff drivers as well. Non-playoff drivers can just go ahead and snatch that up, even part-time drivers. So it's always a challenge whenever you're trying to qualify and get as many points as possible before the race even begins. Bryson comes across the stripe, 9th quick.
And he's going to jump down the order. Brad Slaughter Jr. goes to 3rd quick in the number 8, not a playoff competitor. He won't have to worry about much tonight as far as points are concerned. Philip Groner just began his lap and comes into the night with the blue on the timing and scoring. And remind you that blue on the ticker means that the driver comes into the night above the cut line. Yellow means they came into the night below the cut line. If there was a green driver on the ticker, that would mean that they have already advanced, but there are no drivers that have done that officially yet, so there is no green on the ticker tonight.
Now, the closest would be Jake Nichols, who 36 to the good is almost certainly locked in, but he has to get to the start of the race first. Groner's someone we thought would be more safe, did not have a good race at Bristol, did not finish as well as maybe he should have, and even with that, he's still about 18 points to the good. So just a solid finish should be what he needs to advance to the round of 8, as he'll come across line 3rd, and that's a good way to do it. His teammate Jake Nichols went fastest with a 38.752 with just about 80 seconds left in qualifying. Zach Nichols in a new paint scheme. He's been the Raising Canes mobile all season long. He's switched to the Supra for tonight, and he goes 3rd on the board.
Needs to switch something up, try to give a little momentum boost, whether that's the paint scheme or not, but 7 is Skyly coming through, and 3rd quick. It won't be quick enough for pole, but his best finish here was 2nd prior to tonight, and he won the cup race on Monday.
Braxton DeWeese in the number 13. Up in the blue, as his season has been pretty solid, I have to say. And the consistency has really been the key, although this lap there might not be the one that he was completely hoping for. Let's see what it is on the board. A 38.752 takes the pole. It's a 38.912. That'll be at 11th place. I think he would have liked perhaps a little better than that.
Yeah, but he won't be the worst out of playoff drivers. Matthew Bell's almost must win. He slotted in 13th. Just Anna Sogak does not even have a time up yet, and I don't know if he's going to put one down. So he's going to be starting pretty far back, needing to point his way in. Bryce Senesac, he's going to try to get a lap down, but he won't have enough time to get around this track.
So the reason why the 88, he has an EOL. That's why he didn't bother qualifying. Bryce Senesac got a lap in, didn't count, as you pointed out. Tom Bourne, Ben Pierce, Matt Kemp, Cameron Hearn, Joey Chapman will also not put laps down here in qualifying. As the checkered flag is out, we'll have a quick look at the weather information here. 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 81 degrees on the racetrack, so pretty cool temps here in Michigan. That should mean relatively high grip surface. And we'll probably see this race spread out more, Connor, than we saw on Monday or Tuesday, which should mean we should expect to see some green flag racing. Historically here in this race, we've had one caution for a total average of 4 laps. So that's not a lot. We've only raced here 3 times in the Pro Series. Cameron Hearn won 2 of those races.
And like we mentioned, he's going for 3 in a row. If he can go for it, he's going to go for it. You would think. He qualified. He didn't put a time down. I don't know if he has an EOL or not, but either way, he's starting near the rear of the field. But going for 3 in a row at a specific track would be pretty incredible. He's actually pretty good at the bigger tracks in this series. He won Indianapolis a season or 2 ago, as well as these 2 wins at this track. So he might be someone that we have to deal with today.
So before we get going here, we'll get this out of the way while we can. We've got a couple people to thank before we start the evening. Of course, race fans, you should check out Area iRacing's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. If you subscribe, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And our starting grid sponsor is Central Mobile Homes. We'll talk more about them later. But if you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. All right, Hunter, go ahead. What you got?
Well, I was just going to say that pole for Beckner, he might get the bonus point, but he does have an EOL, so he's going to be starting from the rear of the field tonight.
He didn't even get the bonus point. Jake Nichols got him.
Oh, fair enough.
Never mind.
I'm looking at the wrong script. My apologies.
We'll see if your script has the race winner tonight.
Yeah, we will see.
It got Monday, did it not?
I got Monday. Yeah. I almost called my shot before in the Discord before the race even began. I thought, you know what? Yeah, let me not get too ahead of myself.
So let's talk strategy. 100 laps, Connor, 2-stop race here?
I would think so. I'd be shocked if anyone could get 50 laps out of a tank here. We didn't see anyone really go that far in the truck race either. And even in the cup cars with that extra fuel tank, the bigger fuel tank, you couldn't really make it 50 laps. So I expect a 2-stop.
Is there a possibility it could be a 1-stop if we get some early yellows and some guys tend to stay out?
I think it's going to be tough even with yellows, but I'm sure if the opportunity arises, we'll probably see people try it. But even with yellows, I'd be shocked if anyone was able to make it work. Someone who might need to make it work would be Zachary Carr. He 9 points below the cut line after pretty much missing last week. He was at least on my radar as a championship favorite, but that's all in jeopardy. Just like it was we've already seen some potential title contenders go out in the first 2 races of this week. We had Adam Cabot, who could have been a title contender. He's very good at Atlanta. He didn't make it out of the round of 8. We had on Tuesday, Matthew Bappy was really solid all season long, had a crash at Michigan on Tuesday night. Now he's out of it, so we could see another title contender go home tonight.
This is just one of those places that if you have an incident or a crash, you can either get away with no damage or you're totaled. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of in between here. You're going so fast, so close to these walls, so many cars wide, and often on restarts you're really packed into a pack, so you don't get a lot of opportunity to miss things either. So this place can bite, but we have not seen it bite so much in the Pro Series as it has in the other 2. So I think yet to be determined on how this race will pan out or play out. But we do know that this is the last race of round 1 of the playoffs. Next week, I think we have a week off, but it'll be Iowa after that, and then Kansas. And we'll eliminate the next 4, and then it's a winner-take-all of the top 4 at Atlanta 2008. It'll be a 130-lap race, the last round of the 17-race season. And when we depart Atlanta, it is the end of SimTV's coverage of the area series across the board. We announced this on Monday, but Finian and I are stepping away, not completely, but away enough that we can kind of explore our professional environments and our home environments a little bit more. We've been doing this for nearly 7 years, so we're really excited about some more time on our plates, and we'll be in the communities. I'll probably end up racing at least a little bit in some of them, so I hope to see everybody there. But it's been a good ride, been a good couple of years, good couple of seasons, and really excited for the next step here. We still will be doing some streaming, though, so you won't have to leave us a couple times a week at least.
Have you found work yet, Hunter? On Thursdays? I'm out of work on Thursdays.
Not yet.
Me neither. I need to line something up.
Yeah, Connor, you've been around, I'm trying to remember when you started with us, at least on a semi-consistent basis. It's been a long time, I would imagine, at least 2 or 3 years.
It might be 4.
Might be 4.
It's up there. I think the first race I did was a race at Bathurst. It was GT3s.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
remember having to do that with Finian. I don't know how long that was.
It's probably a WDCR race, which would have been at least 3 or 4 years ago. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, with all that said, let's go down to our Central Mobile Homes starting lineup, and let's kick things off with the front row. And it's Jake Nichols and Travis Beckner, 2 playoff competitors. Beckner's got his onboard for us. We'll show you that in a little while. That's the first row, Connor.
And Beckner, I believe, is going to the rear, so he'll have a lot of work to do. He got caught up in incidents on Tuesday because of that. James Scioli's pretty good to the cut line, 20 over it at least. He starts 3rd. Zach Nichols is going to have some work to do, though, in his new Toyota Supra. He starts 4th.
In 5th place is Philip Groner, and the number 11 playoff competitor there. John Furness starts 6th, the number 28. Last week's winner.
Yeah, at Bristol. Zachary Carr missed Bristol. He's 9 points below the cut line. A lot of work to do for the 97. He starts in 7th. Jeff Wright, I believe, maybe 8 points to the cut line, if I'm not wrong. He starts in the 8th position.
And
18.
Yeah, let's look at 9th. It's Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 8 Toyota Supra. David Weishart rolls off 10th in the number 33.
11th position, Braxton DeWeese, the model of consistency this season. 22 to the cut line, all good. He's 11th. Blaze McKinney didn't make the playoffs in this series. He starts 12th.
13th place is Matthew Bell, the number 43 Toyota Supra. He's got some work to do. It is not necessarily a must-win, but it's going to take a lot of effort. Justin Munsell starts 14th in the number 6.
15th position, the 5 of Garrett Grant and Chevy Camaro as always. And then alongside him will be Bronson Stafford, I believe one of the Sky Motorsports entries, in 16th.
17th place, 2 playoff competitors with some space to gain on the racetrack. Greg Mitchell starts 17th, Shane Therian 18th in the number 9.
And Mitchell's only 2 to the good. He needs to get up to the front. Alex Bell starts in the 19th position, barely missed the playoffs this season. He'll be alongside Jeremy Miller, who starts 20th.
21st place, Shane Abbey in the number 84. Ed Robertson starts 22nd in the number 64 machine.
29, another Supra. Alex Weaver starts 23rd tonight. Colin Fambro, who had some struggles in practice, but is usually pretty good here. He'll start in 24th position.
And 25th place, Alexander Bryson in the 38 Chevy Camaro. Rafe Slate rolls off 26th in the number 98.
27th position, the number 3, Devin Johnson, who I believe has been part-time in the Pro Series this season. He'll be alongside Case Lakatos, who's been full-time in this series, or at least he's tried to. He starts 28th.
29th place is Brody Falliker in the number 42. Matt Kemp starts 30th in the number 51 machine.
31st position, all the way back here is Cameron Hearn. He's looking for his 3rd Michigan victory in a row, but he has a lot of work to do so. He'll be alongside Bryce Senesac in a 09 and 32nd.
And 33rd place, Cedric Hunter in the number 70 Ford Mustang. Tom Bourne starts 34th in the number 16.
And then I believe the final row of his field, Ben Pearson 35th, and the only playoff driver not to put a time down is Justin Anasogak. He will start at the rear, and 3 points below the cut line. He has a lot of work to do. Also, Joey Chapman started this race. 37 drivers tonight.
37 cars, and your playoff grid, that we'll update that as often as we can throughout the evening here. Pace laps beginning. I'll have one more look at the weather here, Hunter. It's slightly warmer on the racetrack than it is in the air, but pretty comfortable temperatures, I'd have to say. Pick me a winner tonight. Who wins this thing in the Area Pro Series?
He's starting on the pole. It's 73 of Jake Nichols.
And Connor, who you got?
I don't think I'm going to go with someone on the last row like I did Tuesday, although that almost worked. Jujua almost won that race if he didn't get turned out of final corner maybe, but I'm thinking I'm going to go a little more soft tonight. And I think John Furness was wrong. He was about to win Texas about a month back and make his way into the playoffs. That went awry, and he didn't make the playoffs partially because of that. Then he came back and won Bristol, and I think he's on a revenge tour. I think John Furness goes back-to-back. He wins tonight.
I think I'm going to take the 7 of James Scioli. Only has 1 win on the season, but has gotten about 6 consecutive top 10 finishes, and his last win came at Dover on August 7th, so he has got some drive in him now to make his way back forward, and comes into the night in position 2nd in the championship standings. That is my pick this evening. Let's see who we've got joining us on the Zoom here this evening. We got a handful of drivers giving us some perspectives inside the virtual cockpit. Justin Munsell has long been one of those drivers. Bryce Senesac is doing the same. And then Braxton DeWeese giving us his perspective. We've also got Travis Beckner, as always, giving us the onboard for the number 27. Lights are on the pace car. Next time by, we'll be turning them loose. Expectations, Connor? Do you expect this race to go as green as races have here in the past?
I would think we still get decent green flag running, but this initial start is going to be the tone setter, as that's not how green flags work, flagman. But I think if you don't get a clean start here, then all bets are off. It's a really important initial start for these drivers. Just give each other some room, get a clean first lap or first 2 laps, then go from there. This start, I think, goes a long way in setting the tone for how clean or how not clean this race will be.
Yeah, I think this one should be fun to watch. We had like 3, 4, 5 wide. I think we'll still get that here. Maybe not 5 wide, but do expect it to see a little bit more spaced out. I think the first 10 laps should really show who's got the short run speed, and if we do get longer than that, maybe 15 or 20 laps, we'll see those come from the back to the front, and who's preserved their tires more, because a lot of these times, guys on newer tires, they like to push it to the limit, especially early in the going, so I think we'll see some of that. But look at it around. Who's a guy that I think is going to come from the back to the front? Keep my eye on Colin Fanbro. Maybe he preserves the tires early and then drives through to the top 10 after 15 laps.
I'd say definitely look for Travis Beckner to be in that situation as well. But we saw on Tuesday night, Kyle, he also had EOL in the truck race, and he could never get out from back there. He got caught up in pretty much every wreck in the first 20 laps, so he's going to be hoping to avoid that tonight.
Trying to turn his luck from the other night around. You are right about that. Right from the tail end of the field. Well, it is a 100-lap race. It's about an hour and 5 minutes from flag to flag if it is green all the way, which would put us at a checker just prior to 10:20 on the East Coast. So stick with us. It is over an hour worth of Florida State Builders Area Pro Series racing. 4 rounds to go. After this race, it'll be 3 green flag, and we're racing in the Midwest, in Michigan. 100 laps. Nichols pulls free of Scioli, drops to the inside. A little bit of 3-wide action here. A couple of team cars that are all spread at 3 across. And if you see these cars here carrying this special paint scheme, this is for the tragedy that happened in Shane Therrien's town last year around this time. And you see the Lewiston logo there on the side. It's obviously a very tragic situation that happened there, but they're carrying the colors and the scheme again in remembrance of that event on those team cars here this evening. Right in the middle of the field there at the moment as they're side by side for 3rd into turn 3. Zach Nichols clears Groner for P3, Connor.
And Thiering got his car up into the 13th position. And last time he ran to Lewis and Strong's team, he almost won the race. He's going to try to do one better this time around. But you can see drivers aggressive already. Jeremy Miller chopped the nose of Ed Robertson. No love lost between New Jersey teammates at least, but not actually actual teammates. But you'd already, like you said, first 2 laps, you already saw a bunch of 3-wide action drivers trying to get track position in a hurry.
And a lot of guys expanding on that outside lane, trying to see how much they can go before, reaching a limit, whether that be the wall or just too much rear tire spin. But got a good battle here for the 3rd position as a Groner to the inside of Zach Nichols. And all the 28 of Furness get a little bit loose on that opening run through 3 and 4.
Groner up to 3rd place, 9 up to the wall. Facing the 33 of David Weishart in that black and red scheme, Blaze McKinney in the green and white as we are used to seeing. And again, already we're seeing this field stretch out and span the racetrack more than Monday and Tuesday series. Of course, the Cup cars race a lot differently than the Xfinity Series cars do, and the trucks just kind of pack race around here, Connor. So this is going to be nice for some of those that pull double or triple duty, that they have a little bit more room to race tonight and make their own maneuvers on the racetrack without getting boxed in so much.
And, the funny thing about it, we did see pack racing in the truck race, but at the same time, we did see that groove move around a little bit after we got a long run. So I think you'll probably see that groove move around even more today. At least that's what I would anticipate. As like you said, we're already seeing drivers try to test the limits of how high they can go and how close they can get to that yellow line, especially turns 1 and 2. It's usually a death trap running below that bottom seam in turns 1 and 2, but so far it's working for a lot of drivers. Zachary Carr's trying to get that 5th position away from John Furness doing it. Jeff Wright, he wants the overlap on the outside. He's going to try to push Furness by and then go by himself.
For the lead, the 7 looking to the inside. Not going to have enough there, at least for the moment, on Jake Nichols. Just biding time as we ride on board with the 73. These two were contending for the lead a good bit on Monday night as well, so no love lost between the two, as always good sportsmanship between the two drivers, and Phil Groner riding the coattails in 3rd.
Justin Munsell in the number 6, riding in position 13 at the moment. Started in 14th, and he's looking to maybe, well, he might lose a spot there. A little slip for somebody out of turn 2. Look at the runs already building that high side, how much more speed you can carry, Connor, having to turn less.
Yeah, and you can see that outside lane is such an advantage. We see Zachary Carr still trying to work the bottom. DeWeese is really going to use up all that room out of the corner to slide up in front of Blaze McKinney, but you can see how tough it is to make some ground on the bottom. Zachary Carr's fluctuating from 5th to 8th position on that bottom line. Jeff Wright's going to go even lower, look 3 wide to the inside. He realized the high line, he can't work it getting through Furness, so he's just going to try to go to the bottom where no one else is, as now the 9's going to go that way high line, trying to get overlap on the 28, but can't do it. These 28-97 been locked side by side. Now Therian's going to try to get that 3-wide move, and he probably has enough of a run to try to send this into the corner, maybe try to clear both of them.
Had a good enough run through 1 and 2. Took notice of what the 33 of Weishart was doing, as he was basically around the similar line. It's going to be tight, though. The 9 getting loose, almost collecting himself into the 97 of Zachary Carr, but now Weishart making a move to the inside of Jeff Wright for position.
Laps clicking away, almost 10 complete here, 8 of 100. And Jeff Wright in that 48. Whoa, big wiggle for the 33 on the bottom of the racetrack. Did you see that? He was absolutely pushing. Had those tires right on the yellow line. Watch the 33 and how busy he gets in the cockpit right here. Gets down on that yellow line, Connor, and just chases it.
Yeah, hit the apron, got a little bit too low there, and that's all it takes to get you out of shape. He was able to do a good job saving it. 3 and 4, no surprise he goes to the way high line trying to avoid that apron. Caution, big crash in turn number 4. There's a lot of drivers in it. Chapman, Lakatis, Cedric Hunter, Devin Johnson, Alex Weaver was in that as well. I think Anna Sogak, he was the only playoff driver back there, but he got through it, but huge crash.
Back and see how this formulated. I thought the 70 looked like he got the brunt of it, but there was more. This was a long crash. It happened early in the corner. 50 Lakatis fires it in there and just drifts up the hill into the 70, into the wall hard.
And then Lakatis, I think Lakatis got collected by the 3 of Johnson. Or no, not the 3 of Johnson, but yeah, they just misjudged it, and Lakatis was... You had nothing you could do there. Watch Anna Sogak just get through that, and there was nowhere for Joey Chapman or Alex Weaver to go.
Who's that right at the back of the shot there that had to stand on
That's Devin Johnson.
Let's see if he just got a piece of it. He almost had it missed.
Was hoping they'd go down the track. They never did.
Just the last little rotation. He would have made it if that car didn't just rotate around the nose. So, all right, and it looks like pit stops here early. Connor, surprised or not?
I'm not too surprising. I'm surprised more people didn't stay out, honestly. I thought it'd be more split, but not the case. Fall off was about half a second in that 8-lap span for Jake Nichols, at least. But we did have some drivers trying to save that tire set and stay out. Furness, Slaughter, Weishart, playoff driver Greg Mitchell stays out, as does Rafe Slate, Matt Kemp, and also Anna Sogak, who just missed that crash. Ooh,
we
is
got
that
a
the
good-
Weiss 2 tires?
Well, I mentioned it Monday night, Kyle, where would you be interested in, well, not you individually, but as a driver.
I'm not really that interested in any tires myself. They won't do me a lot of good.
Yeah, but I mentioned it Monday night, if we get an early yellow, why not explore maybe 2 tires, see if it works. If it doesn't, then okay, well, you're not going to wait till the end of the race to do it, and you get it out of the way. But if it does work, you keep that in mind. So, interesting call there by DeWeese. So I'm excited to see how that works out. Ed Robertson took 2 as well.
Yeah, again, I'm usually a fan of trying this early on, especially when you don't have an enormous tire differential to the rest of the field. The thing that I always seem to notice is that when people make a 2-tire call, they tend to only do it once a night. And so it's not like you see drivers test it and then apply their learnings. It's like it's a Hail Mary now or it's a Hail Mary later, it seems. But we'll see how things transpire for the rest of the night. 4 drivers are still in pit lane with extensive repairs. Devin Johnson's back on the road. Weaver, Hunter, Lakatos, Chapman. Those cars will likely be out for a significant portion. Let's say that Cedric Hunter somehow is rolling.
Honestly, I looked at DeWeese's pit stop. I didn't even see tires go up, so he might have just taken a splash of fuel. Maybe he is trying to cut a stop out of it, but also trying to save that set of tires.
Lights are out. We'll go 1 to green this time. Restart lap 12. Furness chooses the outside lane for the restart. Hunter, what are your thoughts on the lane choice there?
Very interesting. I mean, outside lane usually gets the run through the corners here, so not a surprise. Maybe the inside lane just doesn't fire off as well. And I mean, it is Michigan, so if the inside lane doesn't go, then the cars behind on the inside lane are going to want to fan out 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide beneath that. So interesting call there from the 28 of Furness, but we'll see how this plays out.
So racked up, stacked up for a restart here after a pretty fast opening 10 laps. Reminder that I think next week we have an off week, do we not?
Yes.
We do.
So we will not be on SimTV next week, but we will be the following, and the following, and the following, ending in November.
Season ending just before Thanksgiving as well.
Yep. I was looking forward to this off week because I've got the tail end of all the other series I've worked with. It's going to be, 12 or 13 days until I have the next one, which is a long time. Nice little break. Rejuvenate before the tail end of the season. Pace cars off. We're going to restart lap number 12 of 100. Green flag and a stack up on the outside lane, but I think they'll get it sorted. We're back under fire here at Michigan.
Yeah, that was Ed Robertson that didn't go. I think he actually took 2 tires because he had some trouble getting going. And look at them, they're stacked up 3 wide, 4 wide. Oh, very tight there, almost bouncing like pinballs through the backstretch.
Into turn 3. 2 wide for second place. Slaughter Jr. on the outside. Greg Mitchell hunting for the bottom. Top running of the playoff competitors at the moment. And look at this mess. 3 wide out of 4.
That's Braxton DeWeese on the outside, trying to make it 8. You got everyone going everywhere. Jeff Wright's all the way to the apron, trying to pick up positions, trying to get me inside of Zachary Carr. Support from those drivers near the cut line to get through these guys on no tires faster than the other drivers, as Beckner's trying to use the high line, get the cleanest air possible to make that higher line work. But it is a
spin.
Turned.
Crash out of turn 2, and everybody scatters, including the 27.
Oh,
And he gets hit again.
that is same thing again. same thing again. Nope, 20 laps in again, Beckner is in trouble.
We saw it while he was on board. He just got tagged from behind, but the question is by who and by how much?
'29's there as well. Weaver might have gotten another one.
Has a 30 to his inside. These two have had their differences.
Oh, they got, I think there was the contact and Miller just hooked it. Had Robertson get damaged, Munsell, and then Miller hit him again there.
They almost collided coming out of turn 4. I guess it was to avoid Ed Robertson, but they still were close to wrecking each other on the front.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm pretty sure it was those two who almost hit out of 4, but like you said, they were through out of Robertson, so it was tight.
Back a little further. Beckner really loose.
Miller came up into him a little bit. That was Netco, but the 30 comes up.
I don't think there was anything egregious about what happened there. That was just drivers kind of scrambling to get their cars aligned.
We're tight again.
And I think they just... Beckner kind of comes down the hill. It's real. They just kind of get tangled, and then as soon as the 30 slips, it's game over.
There's no doubt Miller overcorrected, and then he hit him again. That's the thing that Munsell slides. I think he's going to be fine, but the hit after did not look good. I don't know why Miller, Jeremy would do. He should be better to avoid him the second time. That made no sense. So his day should be done, and that really puts Beckner in jeopardy with that much damage. And he did not have the same gap that he had in the points as he did Tuesday. It was still a decent gap, but he's nowhere safe yet.
Pit stops for a handful of drivers towards the tail of the field. For the majority of the field, they'll continue running up here towards the front. At the moment, we've gotten a couple looks at our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay. Racing is back at the Hendry County Motorsports Park. Join us on October 26th. That is Saturday night. To see Cruza late models, UMP open wheel modifieds, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors and teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information. I tell you guys, $15 for a night of entertainment is impossible for most places. So if you're near Hendry County Motorsports Park, that's a one cocktail in a Chicago bar, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, how would you know that?
I had 2 drinks last weekend. And so there's this bar called the High-Low, if you look it up. It's a really cool, it's a very well-decorated, very kind of upscale-looking bar. And my drink of choice is a gin and tonic. And a Hendrix man, right? And I had a Hendrix martini upon request of a friend, a suggestion, and then I had a gin and tonic before that. It's like $40 out the door with a tip. I was like, holy shit! It's like, what a crazy evening, you know. So for 2 drinks, I don't know. Yeah.
That's good enough for 2 weekends of racing at the Hendry County Motorsports Park.
I was gonna say you can get 2 weekends out of it, plus some probably. You probably buy yourself a pop and a burger.
You call it pop?
No, I call it soda, but
He was trying to fit in.
Okay.
how's our playoff situation looking, Connor? Is that updated enough to take a look?
It's definitely messy with the 27 being a little bit down there. It should be updated as pretty close to what it would be. Beckner, him running 31st position with all the damage repair he's having to do really puts him at risk. So he needs to hope he can repair most of it, because Zach Nichols is 1 point behind him, and Zach Nichols is not that high up the order. Same thing for Zachary Carr. So he is definitely in danger.
Realize that
interesting to note.
Sorry,
were you going to mention it too?
I was going to say, well, no, I was going to say the soda and pop conversation in Michigan might be a little bit more aggressive than I had anticipated. Carry on. You see, you had something that was related to what we're doing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Furnace chose the inside lane for this time instead of choosing the outside lane. Interesting to note. Maybe that's because Nichols has fresher tires, so he can try to launch early on the bottom and try to catch the 73 off guard, but it should be interesting.
Pace cars off. It'll be lap 17 of 100 on this restart. Camaro versus Camaro versus Camaro versus Camaro. The front 2 rows, all bow tie power, and we're back underway for Michigan Speedway.
His teammate's Greg Mitchell, isn't it?
It is.
That might have something to do with that lane choice as well, because it gets Mitchell up to second. But Jake Nichols going to take it right back on fresher tires.
Downside of that, and he's going to have a good run at the lead. DeWeese all the way up on the outside. Thought he had a good enough run to get around Kemp. Not going to be enough. Nichols buying his time as they continue to fan out. 3 wide into 3.
Oh, that's a big send there from the 7 on the bottom underneath the 11. He tucks in. We'll scramble out of turn 4. Tight quarters here. Give everyone a few laps and they'll likely sort this out. But the challenge, and I mentioned this on Monday and Tuesday, Connor, is it's not about the racetrack not being wide enough. It's plenty wide enough. It's just about keeping track of where all the other cars are around you.
Man.
Greg Mitchell had a big moment, and they're going to be 4 wide out of 2.
And Mitchell's got to be really careful. He's on old tires. DeWeese almost. He put Rafe Slate in the wall. DeWeese is around. Look out, everyone else. Caution's out, and somehow everyone avoided the 13.
He got real lucky, I think, all things considered.
These cars are on edge tonight.
His playoff light flashed before his eyes. That was it right there. If he'd got clobbered.
He was lucky to not. I'll say that.
Like, it's not just the rest of the guys in the field. It's playoff drivers as well that are having issues with this.
Yeah, I don't know if Slate got into Mitchell or just that being that close to a bumper got him loose, and then they get caught 4 wide because of Slate checking up. There's contact there with the 9 as well. Nothing Fearing could really do, but everyone did a great job just avoiding the 13.
If he
that could have been such a bad
hasn't
crash.
bought a lottery ticket this week, he probably should consider.
I know I would.
Which one would you recommend, the Mega Millions or the Powerball?
I'm always a Mega Millions boy.
I go Powerball.
You think?
I've
never won a lick of anything from any of them, but that's what my dad used to do.
So what does it matter?
I always used to laugh because my uncle would get like 20 tickets, and statistically that's completely pointless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as if 20 tickets would give you 20 times the opportunity. It is not at all how it works. Obviously.
I mean, you could dream.
Sure, you can dream anything you want to dream.
If you want to dream about winning the lottery, then by all means.
Well,
It's just not as likely as we're having more pit stops. Most of the drivers who didn't take tires are coming down, like the 2 of Greg Mitchell. Jeff Wright's coming down. I did not see. I'm pretty sure he had already pit, so he's going with a completely different strategy.
if you want to do a lottery ticket, the Mega Millions is at 220, and someone just won the Powerball the other day. It was 478 million. Now it's 20 million.
My dad always asked me, like, what would you do if you won the lottery? And the thing that he always taught me to do is take the lump sum and invest it and live off the interest. The lump sum, I mean, after taxes, you probably get like 40 to 50% of what you had or whatever, of what the total was. But then if you invest $250 million at 2% interest or whatever, do the math on that. And that's a very bad return on your investment too. Imagine at 8 or 9%. I mean, you're making money by doing nothing. I haven't played the lottery in a long time.
No, I haven't bought a ticket in probably 2 years, and I think that was when the Powerball was really, really high. One of the times, because it's been a couple times.
Occasionally, if it gets over 500 million, I'll chip in a few bucks.
Yeah, that's the point when it's like, okay, it's probably worth a shot. And when it's like,
Because when it's 470, it's not.
oh no, big difference. Big difference,
Yeah,
of course.
I wouldn't want to get shorted $30 million. That's for sure.
I know, that's right. It's highway robbery.
And we'll get the 1 to green this time. Looks like Jake Nichols has already sort of opted for the bottom. And it will align Philip Groner on the outside. Scioli, Bell, Carr, 3, 4, 5.
You'll have Braxton DeWeese all the way back in 28th position. He repaired the slight damage he had, but it could have been so much worse. So I think he'll take that. And he's even still going to be ahead of the 27 of Beckner, who's also still repairing damage, and he'll be back in that 29th position. It's all it takes for some of those drivers below the cut line. If one driver above the cut line who thought you might be safe has a problem, it changes the whole thing.
Those that are even they were like 20+ points to the good. If they have an issue like the Weiss did, they're going to be in a tough spot if they can't make that ground back up.
Yeah.
So coming to the restart here, we're past the 1/5 mark of this race. We've had 3 yellows so far, slowing the progress of this. But as we've seen statistically in the past, not a race that usually has a lot. So I imagine it'll thin out from here.
Or it just never does.
Or, I mean, thanks for the positivity, Hunter. Appreciate the optimism on this evening.
Spoken like a guy who saw one of the Bristol races this week. But that's Bristol.
Bristol was, yeah, that was ugly.
And actually, the Pro Series race was pretty good.
Yeah, it was the truck race.
He even had a patented complete dive bomb by Logan Clampett.
And green flag back in the restart zone. Nichols fires off, and we're underway again from Michigan Speedway.
Oh, there's a crash already. There's a car in the wall. One of the Sky Motorsports cars. I couldn't tell who. I think it was Munsell, maybe.
Oh, we're going to stay green. I didn't even get a chance to look at it, but onto the backstretch, there's the 33 of Weishart. He's on Bryce Senesek, trying to get some overlap there just to side draft him. He's 3 wide with the 4 of Cameron Hearn, past race winner here 2 times over in the middle of it all.
And look back at those
Watch
Alex
the
Bell and Justin Munsell as the 09s get really bold, looking to the middle. I don't think he actually wants to be in there, but Cameron Hearn just shoved him into the middle 3 wide, almost 4 wide. Falliker gets shoved in the middle by Therian as...
Oh, look out.
Oh, man, almost contact there.
Yeah, they almost came back together again, Hunter.
Yeah, interesting to note, Weishart, as he's sliding, and the 09 is sliding as well. Weishart, Slaughter, they pitted a bit earlier, or at least more recently, than those inside the top 8 or so. So about 6 laps fresher tires than the rest.
Oh, there goes the 09 this time.
Yep.
And crash. And the 4s win it as well.
Look out. Oh, Devin
the
Johnson.
16.
More
That's a big
drivers
one.
involved.
Holy cow, Beckner's still sliding.
in it too. Greg Mitchell got damage out of it as well.
Man, it has just been a curse tonight, hasn't it?
And Greg Mitchell came in tonight 2 points above the cut line. This is worst case scenario.
Yeah, so it starts with the 09.
I saw him squarely.
He just drives in there really hot, gets into the 42, comes down the racetrack, slips, slides, and around he goes. And then the 16 comes in here and just has nowhere to go, gets clobbered.
And I think Beckner might have lost it in the grass.
Yeah. 2 gets a little bit of damage, but nothing enormous.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 09 definitely sent it in there. It almost looked like the 4-2 crowded him a little bit as well. So definitely seems like this is a more squirrely setup than we realized, and maybe more than the drivers realized, because it's been a very frantic start, and a lot of drivers just don't have the car under them right now. That's just another instance of it, as this is really making playoff points interesting, because now you have Matthew Bell in second, who pretty much needs to win. So that would really shake things up for those drivers on the cut line, especially with those drivers who have damage back there.
Yeah, that'd be Beckner and Greg Mitchell in particular. And Justin Anasogak added to the list.
I did not see how much damage the 88 got out of it, but you got like 3 or 4 playoff drivers having to repair damage this time down, especially that 2 car. And even through that, you still have the drivers at the front in the playoffs who are having a good run. You got half of them in the top 10 right now.
These cars are a lot more bouncy at this track. I'm pretty sure it's just the model of the Xfinity car, but whenever they get hit, I've seen it a couple times tonight, whenever someone gets loose and then gets clipped by another car, they almost bounce and just start sliding out of control. And especially like the 16 of Tom Bourne, the hit that he took, the whole rear of the car just flew off the ground. So it's almost like we're racing a little bit on the moon.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. I think it's, yeah, there's definitely some quirks to the interaction with the cars at times, and you don't really want that to go not your way. But It's been entertaining, almost as entertaining as Elite Entertainment. Add some life to the party this fall with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, they're near you. They provide high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, which is music bingo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact information. 1 to green here on the lights. And Nichols again elects for the bottom line. Matthew Bell up on the top side. And Connor, you mentioned he's sort of in a must-win scenario, or at least he is at the moment. So he might not be willing to hold back his aggression and just get up there and lead some laps.
Yeah, as we're pretty much just over a quarter of the way through this race, I think that aggression is going to pick up more and more of the yellows we're seeing, and he's going to try to get into the lead as soon as he can. At least get any bonus points he can as far as leading laps at this point. As looking at drivers on pit road, Greg Mitchell's one of those. He went a lap down. He had a lot more damage than we thought, so he is going to be in a tough spot with how the points are going to shake up. He also got, he got plenty more drivers than him down there. Bourne, Senesac, Hearn, Devin Johnson, Alex Weaver, Ed Robertson, and Jeremy Miller as well. And as by the way, the 30 got called to the hauler post-race for that contact with the 27. So that attrition rate's up there pretty early.
Yeah, for Greg Mitchell, at least, with the way this race is going, no one's safe. You go 2 wide, 3 wide, you get a little bit loose, you slide up into someone. All havoc can break loose in the middle of the turn, especially that's kind of where we've been seeing a lot of these wrecks tonight. So still 3/4 of the race left, Kyle, but a little bit of optimism if I would be the two. Mitchell, it's not just him, it's happening up front as well.
Yeah, it's, not over till it's over. You got to keep fighting. You don't really have much of a choice unless your car is destroyed, like we've seen with Hunter, Lakatos, or Chapman. Lap 27, let's try it again. Green flag back in the air. Nichols fires off. Groner to the outside, Bell, McKinney, Carr.
Nichols got a good jump. Got his teammate Groner trying to get him to the second position, at least for the time being. Bell took that position away once we got green flag running, and you can see that run off the middle of the corner that the 43 has been utilizing. Got it again. He's back to the right rear of the 11. Nichols going to try to give him draft, try to help his teammate out a little bit, or at least just try to keep them side by side.
Matthew Bell trying to hold on to second. Philip Groner sending it in. He might have a shot here on the corner exit. These guys door to door finding a loose race cars. They're working their way off of 4. I think that was Matt Kemp that almost lost it there coming out of 4, but nonetheless still side by side behind the leader, Jake Nichols.
2x2 for second place. A little slip up for Falliker and shoves the 33 up the hill a little ways. Slips and slides in the background there. John Furness in the 28. Remember, he was one of the drivers that came down and pit 8 laps ago, rather than 18 like the top 13 cars have done. He has led laps so far tonight and would like to repeat his win he had at Bristol last time out.
Certainly going to try to. My pick, trying to get to the front. Hasn't been really at the front yet, but he's been pretty much off strategy since we had our first caution. So just trying to use maybe slightly fresher tires to get back to the front, as you got people using tires at every part of the racetrack. You got Shane Abbey and Shane Therian. You got 2 Shanes at the top trying to make it work. Abbey's sideways up there right in front of the 9. Will slow down Therian's momentum a little bit. That lets Brad Slaughter get the run, as I see Beckner in the background trying to make it 3 wide. He's trying to work his way back up to the front.
Yeah. There we see the 3 wide battle. Travis Beckner, he's just been all over the place this race. Got the pole, well, didn't get the pole. He got a good starting spot out of EOL, and that's kind of been the summary of his night. He's just been caught up in calamity after calamity, so just trying to survive and at least get some sort of green flag run in, just for his sake, to try and diagnose what he's got with his race car that's been beaten and battered throughout the race. But Matthew Bell was closing in on Nichols for the lead, and now it seems like Philip Groner might have a shot at taking second away, although they're 2-car tangoing down the backstretch.
Look at Blaze McKinney in this green and white car. He's been on the outside the last couple of laps trying to make inroads up there. Carrying really good momentum on corner exit. That should help the 43 as well clear Groner, and he will. 30 laps complete, 70 to go from Michigan.
I would think at this point you might be close to the one-stop range with the amount of yellows we've been in. With 70 to go, fuel can probably go about 42 laps without saving. I would think we're in close to one-stop territory for most drivers, especially drivers who pedal in that last yellow, should definitely be good for one stop.
Would think so as well, as still door-to-door for third, heading into turn. A little further back, it's a top 10 battle between Shane Abbey on the bottom and Shane Tyrion on the outside lane. Tyrion been getting that outside lane rolling and has the run to keep pace with the 84. Meanwhile, Jeff Wright, a playoff driver, closing in tow, and a couple more playoff drivers inside the top 5 duking it out. Philip Groner on the bottom, Zach Carr on the outside.
Blaze McKinney has parlayed that outside momentum to a solid third place. And Zach Carr watched all that happen, and he's going to drive around Groner and likely clear the 11 this time, and he will.
And coming in 9 points below the cut line, being in the top 5 is about all the 97 can do. He's 4 to the good, but that's with Zach Nichols still in about the 14th position with plenty of positions to make up. So 97, he knows his job's very clear. You have to run up at the front and just hope for things to go his way. One thing that already went his way is Greg Mitchell being in a crash, and already, he got a position in points from that right now as we single file out throughout majority of the field. So his job's clear, as is Matthew Bell's. Matthew Bell's is pretty clear because he just pretty much needs to win.
Yeah, and he's doing everything right. He entered the night last in the points, so that was basically the mindset for him. Must win to get in to the next round, and he's been keeping pace with his 73 and Nichols. In that early part of the run, I thought he had a good enough shot to go down the challenge for the lead, but thought better of it, because once you get to that inside lane, if you don't complete the pass, you might get freight trained on that outside lane like we're seeing with some of these guys, even Philip Groner. He lost a couple of spots after not getting the run on the inside going his way, with McKinney and Carr getting by. So all these guys just buying their time until the 15-lap portion of the run, where you should see some guys start to fade in and fade out of the top 10.
Out of the back straightaway there, the 33 and the 7 are side by side. A little bit of an advantage to the 7. Weishart's got that upper groove. How hard you can drive it on the top. Don't have to slow down as much. Keep your foot in the throttle a little more.
You do slide up like the 8. Whoa!
Oh. Try to get in front of Brody Falliker, and he's able to do that for the time being. Those two stay side by side. Zachary Carr trying to get into the top 3. He had a good run to the bottom through the center, as he's going to try to get into the top 3. Meanwhile, Greg Mitchell does get back on track. He's about 9 laps down, trying to stay ahead of Ed Robertson. And, if there's attrition, he's not out of it. So at least he just got back on the track. But we saw the same thing with Bappy. He got back on track, then he blew up. So is that car repaired enough to even run to the end?
It doesn't even matter. You just have to run it until it doesn't, right? I mean, you don't have no idea, so you don't have a choice. My favorite thing about choices, Connor, is that if you have 2 choices, you don't really have a choice. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's just someone spinning off of turn number 4. I think they went in the pit lane. It's Bronson Stafford. That will not be a yellow.
I don't know how he got himself into this position, but he was on the outside of Anna Sogak. And he gets tagged by the 65 of Pierce and went for a ride.
Oh my gosh, Travis Beckner almost got in that again.
It's the same thing as Tuesday. He's in the middle of everything because of being back there, and now he can't escape it. Not because he's not fast enough as a driver, but he has so much damage, he can't go any faster than what he's doing right now.
This is what makes you think. Every time that you've gotten a penalty that puts you in this scenario, he's not back here because he was, doing, I don't want to make him seem like he was being naughty, but like, you don't get there because you were doing something good, right? So that is a punishment, and this is what as a driver, you have to go, hey, maybe the position I put myself in to get myself this penalty was not worth it. That's the consideration that you have to make. That's what the penalty is trying to solve. And so, yeah, I mean, it's doing its job. It's just frustrating to have it go so wrong for a driver that we know is quick.
And it's definitely part of it. With this new rec score system, it wouldn't be the case because it would just be an in-race penalty for causing incidents, and it would not carry over. But that's something that changed with this new rec score system. It's not a single race thing. It will carry over to the rest of your season, as it has with so many drivers. As we look at the close side-by-side battle, slow motion, you can see both drivers having to work the wheel. They are not steady through these corners. They're fighting it every single lap. Even for Nichols, who's been in clean air, he doesn't have stability. As Matthew Bell looking for this lead, Jake Nichols trying to break the draft a little bit and get another victory on the season. That little side-by-side battling for 2 sets of corners brought Zachary Carr and everyone else right back to them, though.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why the 43 of Bell backed out earlier, because he had the run to the inside, couldn't get it enough to where he could overlap the 73 and clear him, but now he's getting attacked from the outside by Zach Carr after not getting the lead, so he's going to be in a tough spot here, heading in the 1 and 2. McKinney on the outside, Groner on the inside. This is for 4th, and then David Weishart running in 6th. Interesting to note about, whoa!
Oh, man.
Well, I was going to say, Weishart's actually getting better physically. Went to Vegas last week to catch the Xfinity race, but wound up getting food poisoning, so unfortunately did not get to see that. So good to see that he's back in good health and up in the fight for the top 5.
Slips and slides there by the 87 of Blaze McKinney. He's been really aggressive in throwing that car around. That Camaro is quick tonight. Got as high as 3rd. He's 5th now, pushing this 43, who seems to be slipping backwards slowly here at the front of the field, Connor.
I was about to say the same thing. You're kind of noticing the 43 had that big move, trying to get to the inside, trying to pass Jake Nichols with a lead, and he backed out, and all of a sudden he does not have the grip under him. He also got too much of a tap down the back last time by from the 87. He almost hit the wall, but it looks like he's driven his tires off a little bit too early at this point, which makes sense. A driver trying to go for the win is going to race hard and not really, you're probably going to put tire saving kind of out the window when you need the win and just hope the short runs prevail for you, because he has nothing else to lose at this point where his playoff position is, as Philip Groner has benefited from that up to the 3rd position. 609 Motorsports 1, 2, 3 plus 1 in the garage as Bell slips back to 4th.
I'll say, looking at lap times, it's about the same as it's a tight 3-wide battle for McKinney, trying to slide in behind the 43. It's whether you put it 31 laps ago, 25 laps ago, or 20 laps ago, it's still about 1.2 seconds of fall off from the best lap to the current lap time we're seeing now. About 40.2s to 40.5s across the board.
Zach Nichols, one of our playoff competitors, 14th at the moment. Started 4th, as low as 21st tonight. Been as high as 3rd. He'd like to taste that sweet champagne again a little bit more because he's in the yellow as far as the playoff cut line is concerned, and right now still a few below where he needs to be.
He is coming up on Jeff Wright, and they're all about to pass Shane Abbey. Abbey's another driver who, just kind of like the 43, started to fade a little bit at this point in the run. So that's positions for the 13 for the 48, as Jeff Wright already got that position, but also Zach Nichols, as Deweese is going to try to cut him off before they get to the entry of the corner. I don't think the 44 is going to appreciate that. It's going to loosen them up, take the air off the spoiler, and they're both going to wiggle off the corner, but Deweese did what he wanted to do there, just shutting the 44's move down as Abbey hit the wall and almost door slammed the 13. That was close.
Almost all bumper cars take off there as they're duking battle outside the top 10. Meanwhile, it's all side by side inside the top 5 except for the lead. Best thing Jake Nichols can see out his rear view mirror as the 97 car gets around Groner, the 43 Matthew Bell getting around the 7 of Scioli, and here comes McKinney and Weishart tailing down the backstretch.
Off into turn 3. Side by side for 2nd place. This has been the fiercest fight of all. Been 2x2, what feels like all 43 of the laps that we've completed so far.
Certainly feels that way. And meanwhile, James Scioli is just going to watch him go 2x2. He's worked his way back up from 7th earlier in this run to get back in the top 5. So I would not be shocked. I mean, it's James Scioli in the Pro Series. It's like bread and butter. He is good at tire saving. He's good at short run speed. He's good at everything in this Xfinity Series car. So would not be surprised if he has some of the freshest tires, and he might be faster than these two, as immediately ducks to the inside to try to get Philip Groner and use a side draft as close to the door as he possibly can. That's part of it. And he dove hard into 3 and is going to clear the 11 easily.
Yeah, you guys win at Michigan on Monday, and as far as this series goes, his best finish was 2nd, but does have 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s and 3 of his Pro Series starts here. So knows a thing or two about running up front, and here he goes, looking to take 2nd away from Zachary Carr.
Closing in on the halfway point of this race as well, guys. Something to consider. We're clicking away laps a lot faster than we were the first 25 laps because of the quartet of yellow flags that we had. And so when you start looking at the potential for green flag stops, Connor, we all know that once we get green flag stops, the chances for yellows go way down. So how does that impact your strategy for the rest of this race? Will you stay out longer, pit sooner? All part of the math and calculation that has to happen.
I don't think this is a track you really have to stay out long to cover off a yellow, because you might stay lead lap and pit here anyways, or even if you go a lap down, you'll be right behind the leader. So I think you're going to see drivers try to stretch his fuel as long as they can, as that battle for second is letting Jake Nichols just drive away from the rest of the field as that 97's wiggling off the corner. I still think if you want to make it on fuel without saving, you need to get to around lap 58, but if you are comfortable saving 3-4 laps, making speed, we could see drivers in the next 10 laps or so.
Ooh, Deweese and Jeff Wright, a couple of playoff drivers battling for the 11th spot outside the top 10. And whoa, Deweese!
I was just going to make the comment that wasn't he just spun out like not that long ago? He is charging back forward, back to where effectively he was prior to the incident.
And he's done a good job so far. 13 he's kind of gotten ahead of Zach Nichols through all this. Nichols, I think, is faster, but Deweese is not budging whatsoever, as they're both trying to get by Jeff Wright, who's also done a good job on a different strategy getting back up through the field. But these three are kind of even on pace at this point in the run, and a few of them, or at least Zach Nichols, in his case, he's not where he needs to be with the 97 running now in the 4th position. That'll help him a little bit, though, if the 97 starts fading back just a little bit, as I believe Philip Groner got that 3rd position back.
And Skyley steered clear for second. Now he's 4 car lengths trailing the 73 of Nichols, heading into the first and second turns of the racetrack, as the other playoff drivers, Anna Sogak's in 20th, Travis Becker's 24th, and then Greg Mitchell, I believe, is 27th, about 10 laps down. Actually, 29th.
Oh, Nichols got hit a little bit there. Sorry, Hunter, but they almost wrecked each other. They are going at it.
Deweese on board into 3. Just stone cold right now, trying to battle this 44.
I think Nichols is going to get it this time. I just don't think Deweese has the tire life at this point, so that would put Deweese back to 13th, Zach Nichols up to 12th, and the points are starting to look better for him, as he's only got that one single point to get the Zachary car at this point, but we're not even halfway yet.
No, we're almost on the brink of halfway. But, yeah. Kind of been a slow race with the early yellows, but now that we got a good group-like run going, it's been pretty entertaining to watch, and Skyoli might be our new leader by the time we cross halfway.
This is not surprising to me at all. No shock, Kyle, that he saved his tires this good. He caught the 73 so quickly once he got the second.
That's why I picked him. I know that James Skyoli is really good. If anyone's going to take the fight to Jake Nichols, it's going to be this guy in the Rick's Hot Sauce car. Next time by, halfway in this race. And start thinking about your pit stops. 40 laps on the stint for the drivers in the top 6 at the moment.
You see both these drivers just trying to find any sort of grip around the racetrack. Nichols went low one corner, he goes high the next. Skyoli vice versa, changes it up on the 73, and now at this point, Skyoli's going to try to lead his first lap of the race, but he's not quite going to be able to do so. The 73 had the run off the top, and maybe some drop for Bronson Stafford. Don't know if they're close enough to be in range, but just bringing Philip Groner right back into it, and he's been committed to that way higher line, as is Blaze McKinney. He's pretty much running the Kyle Larson line. Like we said on Tuesday, a line we haven't seen in like 12 years since they repaved this track, but he is all the way up there.
I guess you could say he's lining it ablaze as he's living up to the name, running in the 5th spot. Him and Zach Carr trying to make up as much ground as possible before the battle for the lead dies down, as it's still Nichols, Groner, and Skyoli duking it out for the lead with a lap car just in front of him.
Oh man, so loose out of 4 for McKinney. Struggling a little bit, and we're back to the lead battle once again.
They're 3 wide back there for the 9th position as well. Actually, that's for 8th. Therian getting by Slaughter, who has some right rear damage. He might have tapped the wall, and he's starting to fade because of it. Zach Nichols trying to follow through.
And Groner and Nichols side by side out of turn 2, and see if Skyoli can get the place to go with it here. He's going to tuck to the inside of the 11 and dive up into 3.
And it's just all a fight for who gets to Jake Nichols first. I think Groner and Skyoli are a touch faster, but Nichols is making that car just wide enough to where they just can't get him at the right times quite yet. And Groner just got squeezed out there. That battle for 8th is tight back there as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, a lot of duking and diving, bobbing and weaving out here, and this is right around 10th. Brody Falliker, Jeff Wright, Braxton Deweese, Brad Slaughter. Then even in front of them,
By the way,
Nichols and Therian still duking it out in the top 10.
By the way, I had to note there before you speak, Kyle. I did hear Therian clutching in there, so some of those drivers who hadn't pit on the previous yellows, they might be having to save a little bit to make their fuel number for this one stop.
Braxton Deweese rocking a hard place here.
This is not fuel saving.
No, and not playoff competitors around him either, so he's got to be cautious of that. Different strategies for these drivers, different goals on their mind, and as things tighten up out of 4, that was a tense moment.
And Deweese, I don't think it's a damage. I think his damage is fully repaired, but he just does not have the grip he needs to right now. And he's struggling to make this pass on the 8, who's dropping back. Bottom line, just tough to make anything happen. But at this point, with how big of an advantage he has, he runs where he is, he should be just fine. As that cut line has changed, with Zach Nichols getting up to 8th, the other Zachary below the cut line. Zachary Carr is running 4th, but not good enough with the 44 moving up.
There's a look at the standings as they run, as Carr, Bell, and Sogak and Mitchell are still below the cut line as they run. Jake Nichols in yellow currently leading, but for how much longer? That 7 Scioli's been hounding the bumper of the 73 over the last handful of laps or so. It's gotten clear of Philip Groner for a little bit. Now sets his focus on the 73 Nichols.
On the back straightaway, Nichols continues to click off laps, led 45 of them. And pretty soon, he will have led more than anyone else can.
Right now, this is that window where if you're comfortable saving a little bit on the final run, you could pit now, but I don't think anyone's going to do it at this point. If I had to guess, Therian's probably going to be one of the earliest drivers in with how much fuel he's having to save at this point. And one thing I'm interested about is how much the draft is playing a factor. You can tell just looking at the racing down the straightaways, that draft is strong.
Or if there's wind contributing to that as well, the answer to that is no. 1 mile an hour out of the east, no factor.
Oh, so much for that.
Yeah.
But no headwind, no tailwind, which means it's a pretty predictable car. It's been sideways, obviously, and so in that case, it's not predictable, but you're not having wind affect it in the corners, being tight one end and loose the other. I think Jake Nichols coming in. There he goes.
A little surprise, I think, but
That's a touch early, I think, for sure. Scioli is going to be the second non-playoff driver today, to my knowledge, to lead a lap.
Well, it's better to be safe than sorry, and especially entering, 33 points above the cut line tonight. You might as well take a little risk. As long as you're not caught up in a crash, I think Nichols is fine for the most part, but that does hand the lead over to the 7 Scioli. But now, the question is, when will the rest of the guys come down pit road?
yeah, I mean, once you start to see some drivers come, you're going to build your confidence to come down when you want to, and see the 11's going to hit pit lane this time. Looks like Blaze McKinney is going to follow, and maybe a few more. But I still think there's value in staying out as long as you can. But they might be doing that, Connor. That might be the challenge.
I was about to say the same thing. I think the drivers who hadn't pit on the other previous yellows, it's not working out in their advantage because they might still have to save at least a little bit for the end of this race. But the drivers who had been topping off on the last few yellows, they're in a much better position because they don't have to save at this point on that final run. They could just kind of go run this long.
Brad Slaughter Jr. kind of middle 3 wide here.
Oh, Shane Abbey. Got it close with Therian there, so we got more guys coming down.
Yeah, it looks like Falliker is one of them. Zach Carr, Matthew Bell.
This is pretty much, this is going to change. Those people who did have more fuel, this might change their strategy a little bit because you don't want to stay out too long to where you lose so much track position.
Yeah, but I still think that there's enough time and laps left in this race, and this strategy, the overcut tends to work better at longer racetracks. James Scioli's run 49 laps. The only other driver that's done that is Therian. He's going to have to hit pit lane this time, but he will be well and truly to the good, I imagine, because he only has 41 to go.
I would think so, and he's a knowledgeable
Look
driver.
out, Slaughter. He might have sped.
That's going to be close.
44 laps on the tank for Weishart, 40 for Nichols and Wright, and several others behind.
Brad Slaughter Jr., I can confirm he has a penalty.
Oh.
That's going to hurt. Also, no, I think Zach Ricard had a slow stop. Did you have the time in his box? Because it looked slow.
Zach Carr, where is he on the road right now?
29.1.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that's too short, or too short to be a penalty. So something definitely happened there in his box, and that is absolutely not what he needed.
Yeah, that's not what you need at all. 40 laps to go here for Michigan. We're just cycling through pit stops. Once again, left side of the screen, there's your stint length, how long each car has been on the road. I'll bet you we're going to use this graphic a lot for the tail end of this race because there's going to be so many strategies to sort out.
Including Braxton DeWeese, says he came down to pit lane that previous time by. Still waiting on Weishart, Nichols, Jeff Wright, and a few others. There goes Weishart, so Zach Nichols is going to pick up an important bonus point for leading a lap right there.
Rafe Slate will follow. We're still about 10 cars away from fully cycling this field out. Here's Jeff Wright and Furness side by side for what is currently second place.
So one thing, if you're going to run long, run short, whatever strategy you're on, when it's still playing out, you don't really want to be battling each other. But this is definitely something that would slow both drivers' strategies down. So it's kind of worst case scenario for those two, as DeWeese is going to squeeze around all three of these cars. As Zach Nichols pulls off, Jeff Wright's going to get a bonus point.
A relatively high action here, isn't it? This is for the lead of the race for now.
48 and 28 as the other two go by, Falker and Tyrion. I think they're getting a lap back, but yeah, this is a very interesting race. A lot of different strategies here. A nice long green flag run to help that out as well, and some bonus points being made by those that need it the most.
See how much longer these drivers can stay. They might try to pit side by side. They are going to try to pit side by side.
And who's going to win the race? The 28 noses ahead.
And Jeff Wright has an earlier stall, so it's actually going to work out perfect that he's on the inside of the 28. Matt Kemp's going to take the lead. Dennis Sogak's trying to stay out, get a bonus point. He needs a yellow to get back into this race, as would Travis Beckner.
Matt Kemp is now the leader for that car 51 in the Chevy Camaro, and then Anna Sogak, Bell, and Beckner, and then Fambro. I think are the last drivers to break here.
And here comes Kemp. We'll see if the 88 tries to stick it out another lap to get that lap led. He will.
And he is going to get that lap led. That was critical in his scenario. And I can't understate how quickly these last 25 minutes are going to feel under green, because the first 25 laps of this race, we had a handful of yellows. The next 40 plus have gone without incident. And now that the field is all spread out, Hunter, it's likely that we're going to see this run out green for a while. And that's going to click laps down really fast. So no funny business now. You got to get your head down and go.
Well, that's what the 7 in Scioli did, because when this cycles through, he'll be the leader. He got around Groner, he got around Jake Nichols, so he's in the best spot right now, sitting fourth on the track. But once again, when they cycle through, he'll be the leader. Nichols will be second, and Groner will be third.
He got around both of them in the same corner, actually. That shows the pace difference in staying out that long, as the 88's going to stick it out at least one more lap, I can imagine. The Travis Beckner, he did come down, so 88-15, last driver standing, and he'll be finally fully cycled out. Zachary Carr currently down in 22nd position.
Well, while we've got our eyes on the Rick's Hot Sauce car, let's talk about Rick's Hot Sauce. Rick's Hot Sauce here for a moment. Make sure you head on over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And a Sogak I would expect to see on pit lane any moment here. Gotten a couple laps led. He solidified that. And here he goes.
He stuck it out as long as he could, trying to get that yellow.
He will not get it. Battle for third on the racetrack right now. There's Blaise McKinney and Philip Groner. It's going to be for second place once they pass pit lane.
And I believe McKinney just got that in 1 and 2, and we'll see if Groner has anything to fight it. As there goes cycling out. Skylerly leads, Nichols second. This will be for third.
Listen to Groner. Had the clutch in.
Yes, there's no doubt in my mind that 73 is going to have to save to make it. As well as Groner, a little bit.
Skyler's got 3 laps more than Nichols and 2 laps more than McKinney. So they're starting now. They have a long time. This shouldn't be that hard to save a little bit, but if they need to save a lot, then it's going to be a little more challenging.
Puts McKinney in a good spot to maybe he'll be able to chase down that 7. Skyler's pace has been great. It's a 2-second lead out of this pit cycle, but you know, if McKinney has anything, he'll be able to show it in a little bit cleaner air, as you can see how big that gap is. Skylerly all on his own, not even going to the wall. Sunday drive at this point in the run.
Shane Abbey having a really good night tonight in that number 84. Having a look at Braxton Deweese. Deweese rebounding nicely after that spin he had earlier in the race, where he narrowly was hit by, or avoided getting hit by, about 10 or 12 cars. Still hanging on to a top 10 position at the moment as Shane Abbey moves forward.
84, good short run. We'll see if the long run pace is better, as next time by will be 30 laps of racing to go, as Deweese has nothing to fight, so he'll hang on to a 9th position. Currently 31 to the cut line good right now, so he's in a good spot. And the cut line's not really close right now, with Skylerly leading, Bell, Sogak, Mitchell, Carr below it, needing something to happen, especially for the 97, who was so fast. And that pit road miscue, plus missing last week, of course, is looming large.
Nice little pack here. Although it's being led by McKinney and slowly losing time to the leader, Skylerly, just putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, this is, you pick a guy like Skylerly at a track like this because we know we're going to get some green flag running. We know that he's good at tire management. We know that he's good at executing pit stops. There's not really anything that he is not good at. I should also supplement by saying that he has been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack tonight. There's only 3 or 4 cars that have been down in the 38-second range at any point. And of those 3 or 4, I think he is about the 3rd fastest car. So he hadn't been out front all night long. So he really is quick and committed and confident in the strategy, and it's playing out. And he is much quicker than those behind right now, too.
Yeah, I knew he'd be fast, but this is actually ridiculous. He gapped that lap alone. He gapped Blaise McKinney by 0.3 of a second. It's 3 seconds. This is incredible pace, and he's been good all season, Hunter. We have not seen this all season. We have not seen this level of domination really by almost any driver. Last race I can remember was Zachary Carr at Rockingham. He had a big lead at one point, but this is insanity right now.
Oh, the 84 sideways out of 4. Shane Abbey goes for a ride. He's going to come back across the racetrack and saves it. What a drive.
Oh, how did he save that? That was unbelievable.
Great drive from the 84.
Got the left sides on the seam. Oh, look at this. That was wild.
Not as much of a ride as you would like to go for in Michigan.
I would say so. That is not what you want to see.
Here comes Groner, the inside of McKinney. This is for second place, and Zach Nichols queued up. This is exactly the night Zach Nichols needs to have. 3 wide. I don't know about this.
Oh, he's looking for it. I think he's faster than both these drivers by a pretty decent margin, so he's got to go. If anyone wants to get Skylerly, they got to go now and drive hard now. I don't even know what the 44 has the car for it, but definitely the fastest out of this group. Gets up into that 2nd position.
Least old tires of anyone back to Furness in 8th, so he does have a tire advantage, but can he parlay it to a speed advantage?
That's definitely going to be the hard part, and I would go to say probably not going to help enough, but we'll see if he can do anything about
wiggle
it.
again. That was the 87 of McKinney that time.
At this point, without a yellow, everyone who's having to save fuel, they can't race. That's the worst part about when you're in a fuel situation you don't want to be in, Hunter. You have to make it to the end. You cannot afford to race anyone at all. You're just trying to sit in line like the 73 is trying to right now, and it almost seems like the 1187 keeps swapping because they don't want to be out front leading. So it's so agonizing having to do this. I hate being in the situation to do it, but you have no choice when the yellows don't fall your way.
Yeah, and when you're not in the fuel mileage saving mode, you have to push it. Because at some point the tires do even up, so got to make the most of what you can. But trying to do that is Zach Nichols, but he's not doing any. I mean, he's running quicker times, but still 3.5 seconds back from Skyler. That's a lot to dig out of.
Yeah, he only has a 3-lap tire advantage. He's only about a 10th quicker. That doesn't mean that he can't get there. It just means that he's still got plenty of work to do in the last 25 laps of this race. It's not a ton of time, but there's time.
But it sure looks daunting when you look at it from a one singular camera shot, how much ground he's going to have to make up in 24 laps. That's the 29. And that was Jeremy Miller back on track. There's the 7, and then you gotta wait. There's Zach Nichols. And then you have the rest of the field.
David Weishart, Matthew Bell. How about Bell's night at that 43? Came into the night below the cut line. Still is. Really needed a miracle, but it's a good performance. But at this point, good isn't going to cut it.
Definitely another driver who's going to need a yellow and probably some strategy. And we saw drivers need to pull strategy on Tuesday, and they didn't really do it. I'm sure if he gets the opportunity, he's going to be very aggressive with trying to just get track position at the right time, needing that victory. But he's in a good spot where it'll probably get him that lead where he is right now. And like you said, he's been very fast tonight, but just not enough. No one's really where the 7 is at this point, that's for sure.
Yeah, and even Beckner, after all the calamity he's been a part of this race, he's still sitting above the cut line, although only plus 13, but running 2030s. Well, they're almost trying to, they're trying not to wreck here.
Oh,
this is crazy.
Watch the 48 to the bottom on the apron, 3 wide, not a lot of space down there, and the 28 didn't want to give it to him. And he's gone. Where'd he go?
That's not a good time to blink either.
There they go. The 43 is going to be in this. If he tags anybody else, he could go in the fence, but he does save it.
Wow, that was wild. That was McKinney just kind of coming down, almost like he didn't know he was 3 wide, but good save by the 43, but that's going to pretty much kill the tires for this run. Jeff Wright, we're talking about tire advantage, he has one big time. He pit way later than most others around him, if not all others around him.
The only driver that has similar tires is John Furness, who's behind him already, and Matt Kemp.
That put Matthew Bell all the way back to the 9th position.
And out front, Scioli continues to lead. Now his lead has come down the slightest of margins. It's now 3.1 instead of 3.2. But last time Nichols only took 4 1/1000ths out of that advantage.
Yeah, it would take a yellow at this point. Just too much to overcome unless the 7 has some sort of crazy issue. And we saw on that previous tire run, Hunter, his long run pace was probably the best out of anyone. It was just really tough to get that pass done on the 73, but now he's in clean air. It's going to be It's going to be tough to make work, but if they get rowdy like this, he might not need to chase down the 7 of Scioli. No one would have to.
No, they'll just have a yellow come out for the wreck. So these two trying to do battle as much as they can without trying to wreck. Don't want to do that, but behind them though, Bell sideways underneath Weishart, still keeping it straight. Weishart still loose, and behind them, Colin Fambro not on the lead lap, but just trying to get by.
Not insinuating that the 43 is given up, but when you get down to this point in the race and you're going backwards and you can't seem to get the drive that you need, you know you're not going to win this race without extenuating circumstances, you start to lose a little hope and it starts to make you drive desperate. But at this point, I think Matthew Bell has to understand that he's going to try to get a top 10, but this is not going to go your way. And you can't look at just this race and say, oh, I wish I did something different here or different there. You have to look back at Bristol as well. What could I have done different there? What could I have done different in the regular season to seed myself better? It's not ever just one race. Even though the playoffs make it seem like that, every race matters. And you can look at any point in the season and say, I should have done better there.
The John Furnace this season, like we talked about earlier, Texas, he was on his way to winning. A yellow comes out at the wrong time. He gets behind on strategy, and he's out just like that. He did a good job kind of fighting back from that at Bristol, but you can't help, I'm sure he can't help but thinking after winning the first race of the first round of the playoffs, thinking, man, this could have been the start of my championship run if I just had a better break at Texas.
This is the car that confuses me, Hunter. Jake Nichols, I mean, he had been in a rock and a hard place with the fuel economy, but he's really on the back foot because of his tires. This is not something that we typically see Jake Nichols do. He doesn't usually paint himself into this corner, but here he is.
A bit of an odd night for the 73. Definitely has race winning speed, but the fuel, the time where he pitted didn't help with his fuel, and I guess laying back, and not only that, but he did battle with Philip Groner and with Scioli. Weishart's so loose to where he can't take it anymore. He has to pit, has to get fresh rubber. But yeah, the 73's just been, he pretty much has been a rock and hard play. So he got the lead and he got the fuel mileage not going his way, and then he had to preserve that, and then throughout the battles, not only just with cars on the lead lap, but lap cars as well. But just trying to buy time, and you know, maybe a yellow could come out, and that could be the 73 saving grace.
Now, checking back in on the lead, Zach Nichols has taken some more chunks out of Scioli's advantage, but it does appear, at least last time by, that advantage that Nichols had has sort of stalled, 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, unless the 7 all of a sudden realizes, oh, I'm way out of fuel, I'd be shocked if he could get this ground up. But this has been a great fight from Zach Nichols. At the beginning of this green flag run, he was below the cut line, and he was not really making up positions. He was stuck in the battle with that 13 of the week. Since then, they went a little longer on the tires, and it paid off big time. Now he has 6 seconds on the weeks who he was battling earlier, and a pretty hefty gap to that cut line as it runs. So he has played the strategy absolutely wonderfully right now, and that's the reason he's, at least right now, in line for a runner-up position, 2.6 seconds behind James Scioli, but he had a great climb this run for sure, and it's paying off.
Paying off indeed, but would like to see some sort of magic happen with the flagman and accidentally dropping a flag on the racetrack to bring out a yellow, like it did that one race quite a few years back, but no yellow for the time being. 15 to go. Jeff Wright holding on to a solid fourth. Would like to get third from Phil Groner.
Working on him right now, 195 miles an hour off into turn 1. He's going to go the long way. Watch him ride this rim here, and the advantage is going to come all at the exit. Watch this gap shrink. 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, 1 car length, and he's there. We'll take a look into 3.
Groner's going to fight it. He gave almost no room to the 48 of Jeff Wright, to my surprise. Pinched him down at the bottom. Sometimes that's all you have to do, especially when they're not ready for it. I'm sure if Jeff Wright, Philip Groner's a really clean driver. I'm sure he's like, he'll give me some room. Not the case. He got pinched to the yellow line, which is really not where you want to be with a car on your right side door taking the air off of you, and he had the lift.
Brody Falliker and Garrett Grant. This is a battle for 12th place. We haven't really talked about Garrett Grant at all tonight. Quietly mingling right around 15th spot.
He's kind of stayed put here, though. He qualified 15th, and he's pretty much hovered there since around this part of the race, around this part of the field, I should say, as Falliker, who kind of had that contact with 09 to put out the previous yellow, he's also kind of lingered in this top 15 position, and these are solid runs that these drivers needed. Also, Rafe Slate, a driver, I don't believe, full-time in pro this season, but we have not talked about him a lot this season. He has not had that many runs, as he's having a pretty quietly good night as well, as they're all getting around Shane Abbey, who is falling off at this point in the run.
Might be the nucleus of this yellow here. The 98 and the 5. Running solid. The 84 even. Loose as a goose behind.
Again, I propose to you the question, how loose is a goose?
Well, it's not my expertise.
Really?
Maybe no.
Not an expert in avian cloacas?
Apparently not. I didn't take that class.
11 laps to go and counting down. Big gain for Zach Nichols the last few times. He's got the gap down to 1.7. And that was a pretty big chunk the last time through, 2/10. Needs more than that still each lap, but that is a lot different gap than it was a few laps ago.
Yeah, well, last I said it was 2.6. All of a sudden it's down to 1.7, and I have not been hearing the 7th clutch. I don't think fuel's an issue, but clearly he lost about 9/10 of a second in almost 3 or 4 laps.
I think he's just toying with him and saving a little bit of tire.
Could be.
I don't want to toy them too much, but they still definitely got a gap where he doesn't have to be worried about the 44.
Blaze McKinney fading a little bit. Tail end of this race was running up inside the top 5, now down to 8th. On the upper end of the tire strategy as far as laps on his good years in the last 10 laps of this one. Another half a tenth gain, sorry Connor, another half a tenth gain for Zach Nichols on Scioli.
Yeah, even though he gained about 8-9 of a second, even with 9 laps to go, it's going to take about 2/10 a lap to get there for the most part, so still not quite enough. That was about 8/10. But yeah, really odd. Maybe a 7 is being conservative at this point in case we get a yellow, but still plenty of room to work with. Scioli does not really have to start trying to change his line or anything until the 44 is within maybe 8/10 of a second. As like you were talking about McKinney falling back a little bit here, he goes Matt Kemp. He's having a solid run in his Taco Bell Camaro. He gets up into 8th. It's kind of the same thing we saw Matthew Bell on the previous set of tires, Hunter, where really fast on the short run, got up to the top 3, then started just fading near the end of it.
If we get a yellow that falls in his favor, it could spark a top 5 run out of the 51.
Really solid race. It brings me back a number of years ago when Finney and I were in college in our apartment. Early days of SimTV, there was an IndyCar in the Elite Series that had a Taco Bell paint scheme. And we decided towards the tail end of the race that advertising was going to work on us, so we went and got Taco Bell after. So if you ever think sim advertising doesn't work, just use that as an example. Here's Furness and Groner side by side, and Jeff Wright as well for 3rd.
Furness had just gotten by Wright, so no surprise to see him get the 11 here as Groner's starting to kind of show his tire life really long, but Jeff Wright still doesn't really have the grip that he needs, but he does have the slipstream he needs to get positioning over the 11 as they catch up to the lap traffic of Tom Bourne, 26th place, 2 laps down.
Yeah, like this is working on me here. The paint jobs and the sponsorships. Like tomorrow I might go to Haviland and fill up my car before I head to Lowe's.
I've never even seen a Haviland in real life.
I think it's a Texas thing.
Oh, maybe I have been. I've been to Texas a couple of times. I just never really noticed. No one has really noticed how James Scioli managed to get this far ahead. Now, the gap is still slightly coming down, but it's feeling safer and safer every lap. And he has just blitzed the field tonight, Connor. He played the strategy to perfection. And he's only got 6 laps out here on his own, provided that we've got no major dramas to contend with for the rest of this race.
It was out of nowhere. I mean, he was battling for the lead, but he did not show any signs of pulling away because he never really got the lead. But yeah, he got his tires, got back on track, and just blew past everyone. Got to what was it? It was like about up to 3.3 seconds. It has come down because of high pressure tires, actually down to 1.5, 1.6. But yeah, did not expect him to just pull away like that, and it's worked out so far as he's going to come to take 5 laps of racing to go, as he is very, very safe on the cut line, even if he wasn't leading. And currently there is no cut line drama. Beckner in, the last one in, and a Sogak, Bell, Mitchell, Zach Carr, they need a whole lot of help.
Very true, as battle for 4th still up for grabs, and maybe 3rd if they can reel in the 28 of Furness again, but Jeff Wright, Philip Groner still close nose and tail for 4th and 5th. Meanwhile, 6th is a close battle, somewhat close. The 73 of Nichols, the 43 of Matthew Bell. might be up for grabs in the last 5 laps.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney, I think, is going to be the one that's disappointed in how this has gone. Just ran most of this race up in the top 6 or 7 and is fading now at really the wrong time. If there ever is a good time to fade, it's not this one.
No. It is kind of shocking, a little bit shocking. It's just more fall off than I had seen from most other drivers. His fastest lap on this run was about a 39.1. He's about 2 seconds off that. He's not going down without a fight, though, trying to get that top 10 from Shane Therian.
James Scioli, 3 laps to go at the front of the field, 1.6 seconds back to Zach Nichols. Their times have equalized. And the Rick's Hot Sauce Chevrolet is now just 6 miles from victory lane.
Garner's not going out without a fight either, trying to keep this 4th position as the battle to talk to Kyle after the race seems done. John Furness has gotten into 3rd, looking for his 2nd top 3 in the row, although it's not looking to be a win. Still battle for this 4th position on track. That battle for 11th, for 10th has subsided. Therian's got in that position. The battle for 12th is still about a 4-man race.
How about the battle in the wars? A little battle here that the 48 might win, but the 11 is determined to not let him win the war. So there's that. Although, hey, look, Jake Nichols has a strong run.
Got my timing screen spazzed on me and I panicked for a moment. 2 laps to go. And Scioli's clicking him down. And this battle for P4 is electric right now.
I think he's good on fuel.
Jake Nichols up to the high side here. He would like back in as well.
About to say he's definitely good on fuel because he's been pushing hard. He's been way faster. Jeff Wright, huge block, chopped the nose of the 73. Does Nichols go 3 wide middle? Not quite, but he's trying to at least get 2 more positions near the end here as James Scioli's trying to hustle into the white flag, and he should get there.
Close here. The flag is waving, Kyle, and they're going to make it 1 more lap.
1 more time around. The battle for 4th is still hotly contested. A couple of 609 teammates and the 48 of Jeff Wright, Connor.
They're going to kind of shove each other down into number 1. Groner's going to re-clear the 48. Nichols is going to try to kind of slide up into the 48's door a little bit. Really tight between those two. Not the battle of the 48 needs to afford to be on the losing end of in case they crash, but all clear. As you can see, all that fuel saving really let the 73 save his tires. Playing to his advantage right now, but all the advantage is James Scioli's at this point.
He planned this to perfection, played in the strategy just right. James Scioli is going to come out of turn 4 at Michigan, and for the 2nd time this season, he will go to victory lane in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Zach Nichols is 2nd, then John Furness, and at the stripe it is going to be Groner and Wright, Nichols and Wright. And then Matthew Bell comes home in 7th, and for Bell it will not be enough. Good race, but not good enough a season.
Just didn't have it at the end, but that man certainly did. That is one of those classic James Scioli wins where he just kind of crushes everyone at that point. What a drive for him.
This looked like last season.
It sure did. An end of a line not only for Matthew Bell, but also for Zachary Carr and also for Justin Anna-Sogak. And Greg Mitchell as well, who was in one of those crashes early in the race.
Well, good momentum boost for the 7 heading into the off week. Hopefully he can keep that up for the final 3 rounds of the season.
While James Scioli burns it down, let's have a look at the race results here. And again, Scioli, a good effort by Zach Nichols, by the way. He never stopped trying. Even though it was going to be a lot of effort to get there, he gave it his all, and it just wasn't quite enough. Furness, Groner, Nichols, Wright, the rest of your top 6. Then Bell, Kemp, DeWeese, rebounds for 9th, and Shane Therian running that special paint scheme, P10 tonight.
And 44 didn't get the win, but he did what he needed to do. Comes from below the cut line to get in. McKinney fell back late. Grant Slate-Falker, great battle for 12th. Garrett Grant got it. Justin Anna-Sogak, he did not qualify, and he could not really recover from not qualifying. He gets a top 15, but he has done. Zachary Carr, with how well the 44 surged, it was looking unlikely he would get in anyways, but the long pit stop did him in, only finishing 19th position. He also had Shane Abbey slip back to 16th. Hunter with Munsell, Alex Bell, and Bryson in the top 20 as well.
Well, 21st was a driver who did not have the night that he wanted, but it was a night nonetheless where he advances to the next round. Travis Beckner 21st, Ben Pierce 22nd, Weaver, Fambro, Stafford top 25, then Bourne, Mitchell, Weishart, Slaughter, and Robertson round out the top 30.
Jeremy Miller down 51 laps. Bryce Senesac out in a crash. Cameron Hearn tagged up in that one as well. Devin Johnson, a victim of one tonight. Cedric Hunter, the same. Casey Lakatos and Joy Chapman out 36 and 37. There's your race results. Let's talk to your race winner because he's standing by. James Scioli picks up his second of the season in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. And James, tonight it looked like classic James Scioli. It looked like last season out there. Just played the strategy perfectly and really never gave anyone a shot there at the end. Take us through it.
Yeah, it felt really good. It was a super loose setup, which I always like. I like being able to manage that right rear for a long run. I was a little worried with how many yellows we were getting early that we weren't ever going to get a chance to kind of stretch out and go long. So I was happy to get a long run there to end it. And then I don't know if maybe a couple of the guys in front of me just pushed too hard early and ended up burning too much fuel. I knew that fuel was going to be close when we pitted there, and I knew that also the overcut's pretty powerful here. So that's why when I saw Zach Nichols get behind me, I knew the race was on. I knew he had fresher tires, and I knew I just had to put my head down and get some clean laps. So just super happy to get this win. It's a good time for it. And hasn't been the greatest season in terms of wins and everything, but I do feel like I've been driving pretty good, especially as of late. So definitely looking forward to the last 3 weeks here.
Momentum picking up at the right time, just into the off week though. James, we'll see you at Iowa in a few. Congratulations to the Rick's Hot Sauce Chevrolet.
Thanks, guys. Want to give a shout out to you guys on the broadcast for capturing all these races for us. Big shout out to the admin team. Hopefully not too much work for them tonight. Big shout out David Weishart Racing, Rick's Hot Sauce, Code Skelly, get you $7 off there, Daniel's Candles, Butt Kicker, Matco Tools, Chris Sports Cards, Roderick Racing Development, Noah Designs, and hopefully we can carry this momentum after the off week.
And we'll see you there. Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys.
And Zach Nichols comes home in second place tonight. Valiant effort there at the end, Zach, to try to run down James Scioli. Just wasn't meant to be tonight. And as far as the points picture, it is going to be enough to put you into the next round, which is what you were hoping for, but I know you would have liked the win too. Take us through it.
Oh yeah, 100% we'd like to win, but the goal was just to make it in the next round, and that's what we accomplished that, so everything's good. But yeah, shout out to my teammates. They put us on it. I was normally going to go with the strat that Jake Nichols and all them ran, but my teammates decided to call us into pit road and get some fuel, and it definitely paid off there because we all did pretty good at the end.
Seems like the setup tonight was a little bit on edge compared to what we've seen in the past year. Had some yellows early on. How much did the car change and transition over the course of these 40 or so lap runs?
But yeah, I mean, it started off kind of loose and then tightened up slightly to me, and then towards the very end of a run, it got really loose. So that's what I like to drive, so it was a ton of fun.
Zach Nichols, second tonight at Michigan. Zach, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
And John Furness comes home in position number 3, John, in the Haviland number 28 Chevrolet Camaro. And things worked out pretty well. I'm sure he would like 2 spots better, but not a bad result here for Michigan.
Yeah, great result. I don't think I had anything for Zach or James. Congrats to him on the win. But still a good result. Great for the team. I think Zach's going to make it to the next round. Had a good run. It's tough to pass, believe it or not. So I wanted to get off strategy because track position was just, I don't know, the name of the game unless you had a real big difference on tires. So try to get off strategy. I think it worked out pretty good for us in the long run, and we were able to drive back up there with the the green flag stint that we had there at the end. That's always nice because it started kind of wild there. So
sure did, but it paid off. Top 5 run for you, John. Congratulations. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Iowa.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
You too. All right, guys, wrapping things up for Michigan. This was a fun race. Took a little while to get the momentum really rolling, but Hunter, things were fun tonight, and James Scioli gets his second win of the season. And as Connor mentioned earlier, it really hasn't been dominant anybody across the board. This has been a very competitive year.
Yeah, we've had plenty of guys that have punched their ticket in for a win this year. We got Philip Broner, Jake Nichols. Scioli's got, I think this is his second win of the season. Beckner won 3 races. I think that's still the most. Clampett won a race, Jeff Wright, Zach Carr, Zach Nichols, Anna Sogak. I mean, it's so open. I mean, there's still those few like Nichols and Skyley that are going to be up contending for the championship, but as far as wins are concerned, that it's very open in this series. So that's a good sign to see, and hopefully we can see some more of that continue for. I'd like to see Braxton DeWeese get a win at Iowa 2 weeks from now, but I'd like to see a new guy win, so maybe DeWeese can do that. Punch his ticket into the championship 4.
Connor, final thoughts.
I agree with what Hunter and you have been saying. It has been kind of a wide open season. We started with 609 Motorsports winning the first 3 races. Groner won 2 of 3. Then Skylerly got his win, but then Beckner won 3 of the last 3 of 4 races, Sonoma, Wilkesboro, and Montreal. But it has been a really wild stretch, really since the end of August at Darlington. We've had the last 8 Pro Series races. We've had 8 different winners, from Logan Clampett at Darlington all the way to tonight, with James Skylerly finally getting his 2nd win of the season. As you can see how the playoff has shaken down with all the different winners, and only 1 winner in the playoffs in this round. Skylerly punches ticket, even though he was pretty much in. Nichols, Groner, Wright, DeWeese, Zach Nichols as well. Therian and Beckner point in. Beckner the last one in by 10 points. End of a road for Justin Sogak, Matthew Bell, Zachary Carr, and Greg Mitchell.
And with that, we're going to take a week off from the area series. The final 3 rounds commence in 2 weeks' time as we head to Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. Thanks so much, everybody. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, and Connor Horn alongside you. We'll see you next time.